Premium brands have been counting on one thing, that you would never actually check what's inside the packaging you're paying triple for. With grocery prices still squeezing every household budget, that bet is starting to fall apart, and Aldi UK is the reason why. 13 items sitting on Aldi's shelves right now aren't just holding their own against the biggest names in British retail. They're beating them in blind taste tests, in independent lab comparisons, and in the kind of ingredient breakdowns that make premium pricing look less like quality and more like theatre. From chocolate and olive oil all the way to nappies, the pattern repeats itself again and again, and it gets harder to ignore with every item. Stay until the end, because number one is the comparison that had parents doing the maths mid-shop and quietly switching trolleys for good. Once you see the numbers, you won't unsee them. Let's start with number 13, the one that's already making food writers uncomfortable about the chocolate they've been recommending for years. Coming in at number 13, Moser Roth Dark Chocolate versus Lindt Excellence. Lindt built a mass premium chocolate empire on a simple bet, that consumers equate price with quality in confectionery. That bet collapses the moment someone actually tries Moser Roth. Aldi's Moser Roth dark chocolate line delivers European production standards, high cacao percentages beginning at 70% and extending to 85% and beyond, and the complex flavor profiles that genuine cacao sourcing produces, in ways Lindt's mass production model quietly optimizes away in favor of consistency and margin. The difference often comes down to conching time, the slow process that actually develops flavor rather than just melting sugar into fat, and Moser Roth's European producers reportedly don't cut that corner the way larger mass-market lines sometimes do. Food writers who have run blind comparisons between Moser Roth and Lindt Excellence at equivalent cacao percentages describe the Moser Roth as performing comparably or preferably at a fraction of the price. And it's not just about taste. The flavonol compounds in high cacao dark chocolate, linked to cardiovascular benefits and better blood vessel flexibility, show up in comparable concentrations here too. What is coming at number 12 is an olive oil comparison that has the specialty food import community genuinely rattled. At number 12, Simply Nature Organic Extra Virgin Olive Oil versus Filippo Berio. Filippo Berio built its shelf presence on Italian heritage branding and decades of supermarket familiarity, commercially effective, and not automatically a marker of superior oil in the bottle. Aldi's Simply Nature Organic Extra Virgin Olive Oil delivers cold-pressed, organic certified oil from named producing regions, and independent tasting panels comparing it against long-established branded oils have produced results the specialty olive oil community finds genuinely hard to swallow. The price gap doesn't reflect a matching quality gap. Oleocanthal content, the compound behind that peppery, throat-tingling finish quality extra virgin olive oil produces, has been measured in Simply Nature at levels that go toe-to-toe with oils costing 2 to 3 times as much. Before we continue, if this list is already making you question every premium brand in your basket, hit that like button right now. Every item on this list represents a purchase decision the evidence has already made for you. What is coming at number 11 is a dairy product that's been quietly winning taste tests against a brand most households buy without ever questioning it. Number 11. West Country Farmhouse Salted Butter versus Kerrygold. Kerrygold built its premium butter reputation on Irish grass-fed dairy provenance, and the nutritional story that grass-fed butter's superior conjugated linoleic acid and omega-3 profile justifies the price premium it commands. Aldi's West Country Farmhouse Butter, made from milk sourced from West Country dairy herds, has been quietly and consistently holding its own against Kerrygold in blind taste assessments run by food bloggers and consumer testing communities. The flavor on bread, the melt on hot toast, and the performance in baking applications have produced results former culinary professionals describe as leaving almost no rational basis for the Kerrygold premium, especially once you compare like-for-like weight rather than pack price. Number 10 is a comparison that's embarrassed one of the most recognizable names in the chilled fish aisle. Sitting at number 10, specially selected smoked salmon versus M&S Lochmuir. M&S built its Lochmuir smoked salmon range on the promise of premium Scottish provenance and a proprietary sourcing story shoppers have no real way to verify at the fishmonger counter. Aldi's specially selected smoked salmon is sourced from Scottish waters, traditionally oak smoked, and has repeatedly placed at or near the top of blind supermarket smoked salmon. Taste tests run by national newspapers and consumer magazines, outscoring M&S's Lochmuir range on texture, smokiness, and saltiness, balance in several published rounds. The testing methodology matters here too. Panels typically taste unlabeled slices side by side, scoring on smokiness, oiliness, and saltiness without knowing which pack cost twice as much, exactly the kind of test premium brands rarely volunteer for. For something bought as an occasional treat or a Christmas morning staple, that's a difficult result to explain away. Number 9 is a cheese board comparison that's got cheesemongers quietly agreeing off the record, just not on camera. At number 9, Aldi Continental Cheese Selection versus Cathedral City. Cathedral City built its dominance on cheddar specifically, consistent, mild, endlessly available. It has never really competed on the continental cheese board, which happens to be exactly where Aldi's The Deli range has quietly built its own reputation. The Deli's continental cheese selection, brie, camembert, and matured continental-style wedges has performed well against significantly pricier deli counter and branded equivalents in blind cheese board comparisons, with tasters frequently unable to pick out which one was the budget option. Picture a cheese board set out for guests, waxy rind, a proper ooze at room temperature, that faint mushroomy tang on the finish, and there's very little in that description that separates the deli from a genuine deli counter. The ripening, the rind, and the creaminess on offer at Aldi's price point make a full cheese board for a dinner party achievable without the deli counter markup. Quick reset before we carry on. 4 items in, and the pattern is already obvious. Aldi's own brand isn't the acceptable compromise it gets treated as. So far it's matched or beaten a premium chocolate brand, a premium olive oil brand, a premium butter brand, a premium fish brand, and a premium cheese brand. That's not luck, that's a pattern. And if you're only watching for one thing on this list, watch how often premium turns out to just mean a bigger marketing budget. Number 8. Cucina Pesto versus Sackler. Sackler built its premium pesto positioning on Italian heritage and a wide range of basil, sun-dried tomato, and specialty variants that dominate the chiller cabinet. Aldi's Cucina Pesto range mirrors the same core ingredients: basil, pine nuts or cashews, Parmesan-style hard cheese, olive oil at a fraction of the price, and blind comparisons run by food bloggers have repeatedly found tasters unable to reliably tell Cucina and Sackler apart on flavor, texture, or saltiness. For a jar that gets used weekly in a lot of households, that's not a small win. It's a habit-forming one. Number 7 is the pasta aisle comparison that's been quietly circulating among food writers for years, and it doesn't get much traction because it isn't exactly flattering for a household name. At number 7, Priano Italian Pasta versus Barilla. Barilla built global pasta dominance on consistent bite, reliable cooking times, and one of the most recognizable blue boxes on any supermarket shelf. Aldi's Priano range, made in Italy using durum wheat semolina, delivers comparable protein content, comparable bite when cooked al dente, and comparable sauce-holding texture to Barilla in side-by-side cooking tests, which starts to make sense once you realize both brands are drawing on the same category of Italian durum wheat production. For a household getting through pasta multiple times a week, that's a lot of money spent on a blue box rather than on anything that changes what lands on the plate. But here's the thing, the biggest gap on this entire list isn't in the kitchen at all. That one's still to come, and it's going to sting a lot more than a jar of pesto. Number 6. Harvest Morn Granola versus Jordan's and Dorset cereals. Jordan's and Dorset cereals built premium breakfast positioning on rustic packaging, countryside imagery, and the quiet implication that their oats and clusters are meaningfully more wholesome than anything on a discount shelf. Aldi's Harvest Morn. Granola range delivers comparable whole grain oat content, comparable nut and fruit inclusion, and near identical nutritional panels per 100 grams, serving to the branded alternatives sitting right beside it. Sugar content per serving lines up closely too, which matters more than the marketing suggests. A lot of premium granola brands quietly rely on dried fruit and honey coatings to push sugar levels higher than shoppers assume from the rustic packaging. Blind taste tests comparing clusters, crunch, and sweetness levels have consistently found no clear winner, which means the extra spend on Jordan's or Dorset cereals is buying packaging and a countryside photograph, not a materially different bowl of breakfast. Number 5. Bramwell's ground coffee versus Lavazza and Illy. Lavazza and Illy built their premium reputations on Italian roasting heritage and cafe-grade branding, genuinely strong roasting traditions, but ones that don't automatically translate into a proportionally better cup once it's in your kitchen rather than a cafe. Aldi's Bramwell's ground coffee range, including its more intense and continental roast options, has held up well in blind cupping-style comparisons run by coffee enthusiasts and consumer publications, judged on aroma, acidity, body, and aftertaste against branded ground coffee costing considerably more. Tasters describe Bramwell's darker roasts as carrying a rounder, less bitter body than some Italian imports, a result that surprises people who assume roasting heritage alone guarantees a better cup. For anyone getting through a bag or two a week, that's daily specialty-style coffee becoming genuinely affordable instead of an occasional treat. Quick reset. We're past the halfway point, and not one premium brand on this list has actually won a blind comparison outright. Chocolate, oil, butter, fish, cheese, pesto, pasta, granola, coffee, matched or beaten every single time. Loyal in some cases for decades, which is exactly why what's coming next tends to get the strongest reactions in the comments. 4 left. This is where it gets uncomfortable for the brands people are the most loyal to. Number 4. Specially selected free-range eggs versus Clarence Court. Clarence Court built a premium position on heritage breeds and distinctive shell colours, alongside genuinely appealing packaging and branding around traceability. Aldi's specially selected free-range eggs meet the same core UK free-range welfare standards, outdoor access, stocking density limits, and Lion Mark or equivalent quality assurance, as the eggs sitting in the premium chiller section right next to them. Under UK free-range regulations, hens need a set minimum of outdoor space per bird and daytime access to that space for most of their lives, requirements that apply identically whether the eggs end up in a heritage-branded box or an own-label one. Blind taste and texture comparisons of fried and boiled eggs have found the differences negligible, with yolk colour and richness driven mostly by feed rather than brand. That's a lot of households paying extra month after month for a shell colour. What is coming at number 3 takes this out of the kitchen entirely into a category most people would never expect Aldi to be winning. Number 3, Lacura Skincare, Q10 and Caviar Illumination versus Nivea, Olay and Number 7. Nivea, Olay and Number 7 built accessible premium skincare reputations on decades of brand recognition and genuinely researched actives like Q10, coenzyme, and retinol-adjacent compounds. The formulations are real, and the research behind ingredients like Q10 is legitimate. What those brands can't fully justify is the price gap with Aldi's Lacura range once the comparison happens at the formulation level. Lacura's Q10 and Caviar Illumination lines contain comparable active ingredient concentrations, Q10, hyaluronic acid, and niacinamide among them, to the branded equivalents they visually and functionally echo. Independent ingredient list comparisons have found key actives positioned similarly high up the formulation rather than diluted down to a token amount near the bottom of the list, which is often where budget skincare actually falls short, and where Lacura reportedly doesn't. Beauty journalists running side-by-side ingredient and performance comparisons have repeatedly landed on the same uncomfortable conclusion. Lacura performs remarkably close to Olay, Nivea, and Number 7's anti-aging ranges for a fraction of the shelf price. The premium here is mostly buying a name on a jar. Quick reset, because this is exactly the point where people tend to switch off the wrong products. Skincare, eggs, coffee, granola, none of these are impulse buys. They're weekly or monthly habits. And every single one of those habits has just been shown to cost more than it needs to, for a result you can't actually tell apart blind. 2 items left, and the biggest one is still coming. Number 2, Four Seasons frozen vegetables versus Bird's Eye. Bird's Eye built a frozen vegetable business on the assumption that a brand dedicated entirely to frozen vegetables would obviously be better at them than a discount grocer's own line. The evidence just does not back that up. Four Seasons frozen vegetables consistently match Bird's Eye on nutritional preservation. Flash freezing at peak harvest ripeness is a standardized agricultural process. It does not produce meaningfully better outcomes just because there is a well-known bird on the box. In fact, fresh vegetables sitting in a supermarket aisle for several days can lose more nutritional value through oxidation than a bag frozen within hours of harvest, which quietly undercuts the entire fresh is best assumption premium ranges lean on. Vitamin C retention, fiber content, and overall quality in peas, sweet corn, and mixed vegetables come down to harvest timing and freeze speed, not brand loyalty. The bag looks different. A lot of what is inside it is not. One comparison left, and it is the one that gets the strongest reaction out of parents every single time, the moment they actually sit down and run the numbers. And now, at number 1, Mamiya nappies versus Pampers. Pampers built one of the most trusted names in baby care on decades of brand loyalty passed down from parent to parent. Alongside genuinely strong absorbency engineering, the product quality is real and the trust is earned. What Pampers can't justify is the price gap with Aldi's Mamiya nappy range once you look at it honestly. Mamiya has repeatedly performed well in independent nappy testing run by parenting publications and consumer groups, matching Pampers on leak protection, overnight absorbency, and skin friendliness for sensitive newborn skin at a significantly lower price per nappy. Run the maths over a few years of nappies, multiple packs a week, and the gap between choosing Mamiya and choosing Pampers adds up to hundreds of pounds by the time a single child is out of nappies. Multiply that across roughly 2.5 years of nappy changes, day and night, newborn size, right through to potty training. And it stops being a rounding error on the weekly shop and starts being a genuinely significant chunk of a new parent's budget. At exactly the point in life when budgets are already stretched thinnest. Money spent on brand loyalty, not on anything a baby has ever noticed the difference on. And that's the uncomfortable truth sitting on Aldi's shelves right now. 13 premium brands, 13 price tags people have been paying without question, and 13 times the evidence says they didn't have to. 13 brands built entire reputations on the assumption nobody would ever run this comparison side by side. Well, now it's been run 13 times over, and 13 times the premium didn't hold up. So next time someone tells you own brand isn't the same, you'll know exactly which packet to hand them to prove it. If this changed what's going in your trolley next week, hit subscribe, because the premium aisle has a lot more to answer for, and we're not done exposing it.